In this ring, this is where all the fights happen. And I get on the mic. Here. And you know, I've got everybody gets intro music, like it's like WWE, man. You know, I just like want to like do cool, fun stuff.
Right, right, right.
So it's like, well,
Du hast mich.
Welcome to Thunderdome.
Excited to present one of my favorite martial artists, Master Metz. Annyeonghaseyo, thank you so much. I'm so excited to present one of my favorite martial artists, Master Metz. Me and David go way back. Both of our upbringings in Taekwondo were very parallel with each other. Now Master Metz has his own martial arts studio that is just a wonderful and just amazing place to be. I haven't been here since it first opened, but the amount of stuff that you've added is just amazing, and you are doing some really great things here. So welcome to this episode featuring my favorite martial artist, Master Metz with Genesis Martial Arts. How are you doing, David?
Oh, I'm good, sir. Thank you so much for coming up.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. It's been a while since we've talked. It's been over a year or two since we've seen each other.
Yeah.
Maybe a year.
Yeah, we still keep in contact, but, you know, busy lives, you know, especially when you're working on projects and things.
Yes. You have a huge thing going here right now. I have to say, I'm just so impressed. It's a little overwhelming coming in here, and you just soak it all in and just enjoy it. And it's a big spot. This is a big place, and you've got plenty to fill in here. He's got Mortal Kombat video games. We got the Midwest Taekwondo League, which is something that I want to talk about in a little bit. But why don't you just give me a little insight into how Genesis came about?
Well, you know, that's an awesome question.
It's loaded.
Oh.
How long we got?
Yeah, right. So I had been instructing full time, you know, like 25 classes a week for about 5 years at that point, when I finally decided to, you know, open my own dojo. And one of the biggest things was there comes a point where you have to get out on your own. And a lot of people will be like, well, what do you mean? And they'll be like, oh, what are you creating your own Quan? Or, you know, are you gonna, Rex Kwando? Like, what are you doing? And it's like, you know, and I'm like, no, I mean, like, get out on my own is just and have my own school. And, you know, you still have grandmasters that you work with, and coaches out there that you work with. You know, I do a lot of work with the Peak guys in Michigan, Brad DeMink, Rafael Cabrera. You know, like there's some stuff that I do with, you know, like Master Buchkowski up in Wausau, North Star. Yep.
Shout out to North Star Taekwondo, Master Buchkowski.
Love you, buddy. And then, you know, and then of course with the Vorpals and their schools, American Taekwondo schools down there in Southeast Wisconsin. Just, you know, a lot of, you know, tournament stuff, and we're very parallel on how we view things, and just, you know, it's no nonsense, and we're doing it for our students.
Right.
And that's like, that is like also one of the main things that, you know, I found lacking. You know, like, I felt like I was teaching in environments, and I'm not trying to, like, you know, slam anyone or anything like that, but I just felt like it was more about, like, you know, let's just have the classes, get it over with, and you know, get everybody out the door, bring in the next group.
Right.
Yeah. You know, I didn't really feel like I was given the time to build anyone up, and that's, you know, so, you know, opening this place, and it's just crazy because I think in like 2016, 2015, it might have even been 2015. It was when so you and I were training together at Surge at the time, and we were both black belts there, and we were both doing, you know, instructing, things like that. I remember you were involved with the competition team, and I remember I asked you, so this was 4 years ago, a little over 4 years ago, and I said, what do you think would happen, you know, like if I were to open up a school in Plover, because, you know, I have some history living up here. I lived up here previously, and you were like, I don't think that's a very good idea, Dave. and you were you know, that was good advice, because the first couple years were very rough. And it was rough going. It was hard getting the awareness out there that, you know, that the school is here, that there is good martial arts, good Taekwondo being taught here. And, you know, so finally, eventually things did catch on, but yeah, like your gut initial reaction, like, you know.
And disclaimer, I don't remember this in the position that I am now. I feel a little embarrassed that I didn't support you, so I'm sorry if I didn't. But sometimes having someone tell you that it's a crazy idea makes you want to do that even that much more. Because I'm similar with just starting my first martial arts school, and, you know, my wife, Therese, you know, said that I was nuts and that it's gonna fail. But when she told me that, I was like, oh, heck no, I'm gonna show her. So sometimes we need that that negative feed. Well, it's not necessarily negative, but
no, not
it
at
can
all.
turn things for you. But you remember those things. You remember those instances. And you and me were brought up very similarly within Chose. And we definitely, our eyes were opened when we went to our first Taekwondo National Championship, and we just saw this whole different side to Taekwondo that we had no idea existed, and we just wanted in. We wanted to get our feet wet, we wanted to get in there, do the electronic scoring, we wanted to learn everything we could. We started our own page, WTS, Wisconsin Taekwondo Spin, and we're trying to learn how to teach people already. You know, we were trying to instruct people how to do Pumse, the correct, you know, setups and intros and all that. So back then, you know, you and I were really ambitious, and for some reason that rubbed some people the wrong way. There are some people out there who do not want to see you succeed or leave their system. They want to control you. They want to be able to tell you who, where, and when you can train. No, this is each person's martial artist journey is unique, and it belongs to them. So if you have an instructor telling you you can't go train with someone outside of their dojan, I would definitely tell you, if that's where you want to stay, that's fine. But you and I really needed freedom and creativity to be able to keep building and be true, wanting to give back to our students, making sure that they get the best that they can get from us. Because in a way, we sort of felt like we were almost blacklisted or black sheeped once we started to seek knowledge outside of martial arts. So Genesis means beginning.
Yes,
okay, so the thought behind that.
The origin.
Yes, getting back to that original innocence. Because when you and I first started as colored belts, very innocent. We didn't know what was out there. We just blindly followed what was being taught to us, but it was so new to us that we wanted everything from it. You know, we want to learn everything and do our best. You know, you and I both trained so hard.
6 days a week.
Yes, 2 classes a day sometimes. And that's,
people don't believe it. And I tell them stories. I tell my students stories about you.
Yeah.
And what we used to do.
Yeah.
For years, and they're just like,
drive halfway across the country to go to a tournament, and,
18-hour drives.
Yeah, that's something I'll never forget, though. I mean, that was an awesome time, and the memories that you and I created there last a lifetime. And so it doesn't end up becoming just about winning the gold medal. That's nice, that's an extra, but meeting new people, building your relationship with your friends. I think that's what the spirit of martial arts is really about, coming together, being open to different teachings, and realizing that sometimes you have to put your own ego aside and come together in a mutual understanding where there's a mutual respect. And so Genesis, let's talk a little bit quickly about the Midwest Taekwondo League, MTL. How was that formed?
All right, so Master Aaron Vorpal and myself, we're both, big wrestling fans, video game guys, not so much anymore, but that's how we kind of, that's like, you see your inspiration, your Street Fighter, your Mortal Kombat, your Streets of Rage, all that stuff. That's like what leads you to it, just like
Karate Kid.
You got Karate Kid, Van Damme, the Turtles, Power Rangers, Bruce Lee. I mean, these are the things that draw you to the martial arts. It's what you experience in media, and you're experiencing this as a child, and you're like, wow, this is awesome. You want to be, you want to be the guy doing those things instead of just watching the guy do those things, or lady, a lot of awesome female martial artists out there, and with the MTL, we were talking for a couple years about how cool would it be if we had title belts and intro music at our tournaments and stuff, and finally it was late last year. We were finally just like, well, we really don't care what anybody thinks at this point, so let's just do it. And so we bought some title belts, so the league title belts say 2020 armor across them, and then your school belts have your school logos on them.
Okay, yeah. So
and it started with one belt. And that one is all black on black, and you're the MTL undisputed Taekwondo champion. And when we had our in-house tournament here in January, the winter heat, and that was awesome because we had 60 competitors, and we had 20 black belt competitors who have medaled at the national and international level in the house.
That's cool.
Yes.
Wow.
And we had all the colored belts on 2020 armor. We had all the black belts on fighting on Dado. We had full support from Wisconsin State Taekwondo. Grandmaster Kim was in the house. Tyler Northern was in the house. Master Vorpal was in the house. Master Bukowski was in the house. We had support for a first time thing, and I mean, to pull that off. And we had 150 spectators. This place was rocking non-stop. And
it's a big place. I think they could hold that.
Yeah, and and we were only using 2 rings, and we were using this as holding, and we were using the third ring as just as for the judges' tables and trophies and medals and stuff.
So this year coming up, are you having another one?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
January 25th.
January 25th, 2020.
Yep.
That is crazy because you now incorporate Dado and 2020 armor.
Yes, sir.
That's awesome. And the electronic scoring gear, I really feel like it makes the competitions a lot fairer. That's what they use at the Olympic level, is being able to have those, and I talked about that in one of my last episodes. You have to hit these with a certain threshold. How, we'll go into that with the next video.
Okay.
So, 2020 armor, you got Dado 2, you got the tournament coming up in 2020, January 25th, right?
Should be Saturday, January 25th.
Yes, that is amazing. Congratulations on everything.
Thank you,
really
sir.
think you are doing something special here, and I want to give you my full support also, and I hope maybe I can come in January.
That would be amazing.
And just watch and just
and if
kind
you
of experience,
have,
because I have no experience with the 2020 armor. So we're gonna do a video next about that. So I'm gonna learn. That'll be new for me to get an education from Master Metz on the 2020 armor. So I'm excited about that.
Oh, it's wonderful, and that's the glue that holds MTL together. Without the 2020 armor, this would not be possible.
Gotcha.
Simply not possible.
Awesome. Well, stay tuned. We're going to be filming that episode next. These are going to be kind of released a little different times from each other, so we'll see how the editing goes. But we got Master Metz here with Genesis Martial Arts, the Midwest Taekwondo League. Thank you for having me so much. This is amazing, and you are one of my all-time favorite martial artists. I just have to admit that. So
thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Feelings absolutely mutual. Thank you.
Annyeonghaseyo. Thank you so much.
Bye.